Hey Jen, how you doing? Let me add you. Here you go.
Hey, Juan.
Can you hear me?
Yep, just took some time to have the microphone, but yeah, morning.
Good morning or good evening for us,
It's always morning in crypto.
right? Yeah. So I that's true. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to invite Chad in with us. It seems like he can't be invited for some reason. Hmm. Kimmy. All right. I invited him as a speaker. Should be good enough.
Where are you based, Juan?
We are in San Luis Obispo, so in
Mm,
California.
Cali.
Um, yeah, it's really beautiful out here.
I see. Yeah, it's Thursday nighttime for you guys.
Yep, that's true. And I'm ready for the evening. We're actually going to be heading over to a farmers market after this. So super excited for that.
It's early in the morning. Well, it's not as early. It's around 10 a.m. here in the Philippines. So our day is just starting.
Yeah, I know that's what what I noticed. I'm actually getting used to that since I'm trying to schedule these Twitter Spaces. It's really hard to just get used to like the time change, but I'm definitely getting there. Um, cool. So Chad's saying that he's a listener, but I can't see him for some reason. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I think we're just gonna have to get started. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you have a hard stop at 10:40 your time, 6:40 our time. So first of all, first want to quickly introduce that blockchain space saves guilds operators time, providing valuable data and metrics, and giving guilds access to capital, thus allowing them to focus on scaling and performance. And I really wanted Chad to be up here because he was going to explain a little bit more about how we started our guild and how he really got into contact with you because when we first started, we had all these spreadsheets, we had to have all this internal communication, and it was just super unorganized, and we just didn't really know what we needed to do, and we needed a tool that really helped us get organized and allowed us to build a guild that really served the purpose of helping our scholars get into these games and really be able to play these games well. So first of all, I want you to quickly explain maybe how you got into crypto really quickly, and how would you explain blockchain space in your own words?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Juan. And happy to be here. Actually, it was quite interesting how I got in touch with Chad and GamerSpeak before, but it's mainly through I think through email. But a little bit of a background about myself. I'm before I went like full time into crypto, I was investment banker, and
Hmm.
coming from a finance background, I saw how because most of the crypto projects initially were DeFi, right? And I saw that, hey, this could be something that is very interesting, and it kind of touches, and I could understand finance quite well. So I said this could be disruptive in finance, but the problem was the adoption, user adoption. But I think when I saw GameFi, it's a way for people, it was a fastest way of onboarding people into crypto, and they didn't even know it, right? So after seeing that adoption primarily here in the Philippines, I said, okay, now is maybe the time to jump into it. And by happenstance, I've been friends with our founder Peter for almost 6 7 years. We were part of a startup before, and then we just kept in touch ever since then. And when he invited me to join full time, I said, why not, right? So I know him very well. So that's my story and how I got into deeply into this space. And maybe in terms of explaining what we do at blockchain space. So um, we are founded in three pillars, right? So education, tooling, and financing. And what we
Right.
do primarily is to help guilds scale. So by addressing those three main concerns of them, three main pain points of them, which revolves around educating scholars because you need to onboard them and inform them about the specifics of the game, and at the same time tooling with regards to the monitoring of the performance, and lastly, when you want to scale and there's no available capital for from a guild owners or guild managers or even scholars perspective, that's where we also want to help them with, which is the last piece of the puzzle for us. So we're creating this holistic ecosystem or assistance to guilds. And actually in terms of we are agnostic in the space towards tools and games. What we wanted to do is to be one of the biggest data aggregator, and to be able to aggregate data you need to be able to provide, you know, the tools and solve the pain points of the guilds.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's so many guilds that are in this space that are really trying to achieve and succeed, and they need something. They need someone, somewhat of like a centralized platform to all go to, that will help them be able to find exactly their footing in the space. Because there's going to be so many games coming out in the future. There's going to be so many guilds coming out, so many niches, and we simply need something that will really help get everyone organized in exactly what they really want to do. So can you, explain a little bit more about Kaizen and really what's in store for Kaizen?
Sure. So Kaizen is one of our products. So currently we have three main products: our Discord bot, our dashboard, which is what we call Kaizen, and our guild database. So Kaizen is one of the our web-based dashboard, which basically addresses one of the main I think services that I think guilds are now providing, um, which is guild as a service, right? So eventually we see that there are people who are guild managers who are very adept into managing a scholar, making sure of checking their performance, etc. But there are people who are just focused on, they just wanted to invest. So how do you now create a platform that the investors will be able to see? Um, will be able to see the performance of the scholars that they invested in, but at the same time a guild manager would have different investors in that he or she is managing. So what Kaizen is specifically built for is for micro and mid-sized guilds who have a lot of investors, and at the same time they want to have a tool that monitors, their performance of their scholars in different games. So what the vision for Kaizen is, we'll be able to make available different uh, games. You will be able to check the performance of your scholars in different games, and at the same time look at your overall portfolio as a manager and as an investor. So this is something that I think the guild space in general will evolve to, right? So different guilds would have a specific niche. So some guilds we're seeing are focused on performance, so they were saying to us that, hey Jen, I'm not focused on just growing the number of my scholars, but I wanted to play in a high level. So
Mhm.
therefore this will be the type of scholar profile that I'm looking at. Others, on the other hand, would prefer to have a larger scale guild, right? You can see that from all of those guilds who already have their own tokens. So they're focused on the numbers, and then they constantly replenish their scholar base. That is also something that Kaizen addresses. So it's actually, there are a lot of features in Kaizen, and you can mix and match, and it can address the problems of any type of guilds in the segment. So the way we're seeing it right now, there are three main segments in the guild space: micro, mid-size, and macro guilds. And each specific segment would have a feature that they really prioritize. So, the idea for Kaizen is, we make it as easy as possible for you to customize, or maybe just the main one. So we have a main section called dashboard, and you'll be able to see all of the performance of your scholars. And then it gets some of its features will be able to cater to much more complex needs of the mid-size and macro guilds.
Definitely, yeah. I see how there's definitely different sections being built within this market of guilds. Really quickly, how did you decide on the name Kaizen? I know Kaizen is productivity, and I learned that kind of in my classes here. Currently taking Cal Poly classes. How did you pick that name?
So Kaizen actually is a direct translation of, in Japanese, is a Japanese word which means continuous improvement, right?
Mm.
And we just firstly we saw that most of, and this is just on the surface level, we saw that most of the crypto projects would like to name it with a Japanese name, right? So we said okay, and then we like the idea of Kaizen, which is continuous improvement. Obviously, our space, um, as a whole, continuously evolve, and our tools as well will evolve in conjunction with that. So it's a way for us to continuously improve every day, to remind our dev guys and to our users to continuously improve every day. So, and it's a catchy term even for me. I like the Kaizen. So all of our products starts with letter K. So Kaizen for our dashboard, um, Kozo for our guild database. And for us, we like the sense of uniformity across our products, but most importantly, it's about what it represents, right? Kaizen is continuous improvement.
Yeah, and I think we see that in general, right, with these games. And I mean, talking about Axie Infinity really quickly, it's being able to improve, and continuous improvement is really what's going to allow, whether it be a guild, a game, or a service to be successful. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
and there's always rebalancing in Axie Infinity, so it's you really need to understand. You really need to be flexible, right? And build on top of what you've learned yesterday. So it's a reflection of not just the game, but not just the ecosystem, but it's also it dovetails into the products itself. So everything in our space constantly evolves. So you need to be constantly improving as well.
right. How do you think your guild token helps you improve the platform as well? It's something that I'm really interested in.
Yeah. So we conducted our token launch last December 8th. And the idea for us is to be, since we offer a lot of products, we wanted to, the guild token will be used for accessing some of the premium features of our product. So that is our next step, actually. What we call token gated access, right? So as we continuously build value, we wanted it to be, our um, our supporters of the community will be able to use and transact using guild tokens. So that's the utility of the token. So if ever you want to use some of our products, so our dashboard, Kaizen dashboard, is one of which. Moving forward, what we'll do is, to be able to access the premium features, you have to have X amount of guild tokens. Um, Secondly, we have our guild database. So we do have our we get we aggregate data of about 11,000 guilds right now, all across different countries, 1.5 million players, etc. And there will be a lot of projects moving forward that want to have that accuracy, or that validated data feed about guilds. Because if you are a guild, a project that would like to service guilds, if you're like guild to guild lending, what you need is data about guilds. Unfortunately, right now, in the space, there's really not much information or validation about what is a guild. Right now, we're going into a deeper um, question about what classifies as a guild. Is that
Very
one
deep
person?
question.
Right, so is it like one person with two people? Would you classify that particular group of friends a guild? Right, so those are the things that we're trying to understand, and once we've addressed those, or that will also evolve over time, right? But that is something that our space also would need to, something that is really badly needed by other projects that wanted to support guilds. So in order for you, so the guild token, what how is it related to guild token? Obviously, um, it's also a way for in exchange, right? So for if you want to use, if you want to utilize or use our data feed, you need to pay us in guild tokens. That's one of our use cases for our guild tokens. Another program that we have right now for um, other blockchain spaces, the guild partner program, where we're connecting guilds and games. And what we're seeing is that games are not as, they wanted to reach out to guilds, but the problem is they don't have a facilitator for that exchange. This is something that we can monetize moving forward, where we have a VIP group of guild partners, and they provide us feedback. So we give them in-game assets, etc. And we will be the one to facilitate these exchanges between guilds and games. So we've done that before, and that could be like a tiered system, right? If you want to be part of tier one, where you get private rounds, if you want to get like free in-game assets, etc., you have the leads, you have the research reports that we provide. You need to have X amount of guild tokens. So that one. And the last one is, we wanted to, obviously it's a way for us to reward the community, right? So we run our own guild ourselves, so we have about 500 scholars as well. And we wanted, and the problem that guilds are currently facing and right now is scholar retention, right?
Right.
And I think, as we've been talking to a lot of guilds, is tokenizing, creating your own tokens, and rewarding those that are loyal to your community is one of the ways you ensure retention. And that is what we're going to do as well with our own guild. So it's one of our ways to retain our top performing scholars from a guild perspective, right? And more than that, we see that we wanted to provide infrastructure for other guilds as well, and other um, related projects. So the the hurdles right now for any guilds, they want to tokenize, but the problem is you need to have a certain infrastructure, um, infrastructure already, right? So the entities, corporate entities, you need to be able to have some familiarity with staking, because it's also another thing to raise money through tokens, and then it's another thing to maintain defend your price, right? Once
Right.
once you have tokens. So those headaches, I think, is something that other guilds are not, or other projects are not yet fully grasped, so haven't fully grasped yet. So we've been talking to some guilds right now, wherein we will swap token swaps using guild tokens. So basically, if you want to have exposure for a particular guild, right, you will, instead of buying, we'll have the token swaps. We'll take care of the token swaps with other guild projects, and then you just have to hold guild tokens, and you can stake in a particular staking vault, and then the rewards will be the guild partners token. So that is something that we're working on right now, and we're seeing a lot of interest from some of our guild partners. So we're gonna take care of the infrastructure for you guys. So you will, we already have our token, the infrastructure in place, and then we'll have some token swap with other guilds. And if you're an investor, you want to have an exposure for GameFi, or and in particular with guilds, you will just own the guild token. So it's a layer on top of all of the guilds that are right now. And we are in a unique position to do that because we're the biggest data aggregator in the space. And the next step that we're doing for to strengthen that is to have a deep relationship with guilds that we see have potential, and they have plans of tokenizing, right? So and they're spread all across the world, right? And in different segments. So they have we have guild partners in Latin America, Malaysia, Thailand, etc. So if you want to have an exposure in guild, you would buy guild token, hence the name. So it's the recall is also there for us actually.
Well, honestly, Jen, it seems like blockchain space is doing a little bit of everything for guilds. You know, not only is it a tool, but now you're talking about being able to really onboard individuals into really what is a new business sort of business model, which is tokenization. And how can you provide value for your token holders? And I just think that's really amazing, and goes to show how innovative the blockchain space is really becoming. And so I'm going to read a quote that I found on your website, and I want to see what you think it says about the future of blockchain gaming, because I think it speaks volumes. So it reads, our aim is to embolden the next generation of play to earn gamers and guild owners to become successful entrepreneurs by equipping them with the essential digital tools and financing to scale. What would you say that means for the future of blockchain gaming?
So I think for the future of blockchain gaming, it means that uh, there's still a lot of things that prevents people to be part of the ecosystem. I know for a fact that here in the Philippines, there's for every scholar, for every available scholarship, there's about 5 or 10 that are willing to be part of it. So the
Mm,
problem is for us is how do we make sure that there's adoption, obviously in the space, and at the same time those that have the capability to take and capacity and the talent to grow, they wouldn't be hindered by financing or by the day-to-day administrative requirements of running a guild. Because for example, as you reach like 100, 200 guilds, if you're a good manager, that will be a problem for you, cash outs, etc. So instead of your bandwidth focused on the day-to-day administrative tasks, which doesn't provide value, um, what we wanted the guild owners and guild managers to focus on is to improve performance and to onboard more people, because we know that there's a huge amount of applicants that are just there waiting to be part of this I would say revolution of the play to earn ecosystem, of the gaming industry, I would say. So we're giving and we're also flipping the switch, right? Before, when you say you're a gamer, people think that it's a pastime, right? And
right.
sometimes you get looked down upon, unfortunately, like, oh, you're a gamer, it's not, but we're seeing now that gamers or guild owners are evolving to become entrepreneurs, and we've seen a lot of success stories that it's not and guild the guild space, we don't really care where you come from. We don't really care about your background as long as you're hardworking. So we're breaking the glass ceiling for predominantly a lot of people in the rural areas in the Philippines. And I'm seeing it firsthand. Like people who just, come from modest backgrounds are becoming successful entrepreneurs, and they're helping and paying it forward to other people. So I think that is something that was not present and available in a traditional business sense, because there's a lot of barriers to entry if you want to set up your own business, right? And what we're doing right now is providing those that we see that they're hardworking, they're focused on building their own community and paying it forward and giving them the opportunity to touch more lives. And that is something that traditionally wasn't available, and for a lot of reasons, right? So because of banks are not open to providing them financing, etc. So what the crypto actually, crypto in general, DeFi, it's empowering and reaching out to those that are historically unbanked and overlooked by traditional businesses, and we are empowering them by providing them, basically just the opportunity, because before there's not a lot of opportunity in the for anyone to be part of, to be an entrepreneur. But right now, for example, we see a lot of scholars. Once they've reached, they saved enough money, they will buy their own team, and then they will talk to some of their friends, etc., and they will become a guild owner. And those are the success stories that really gives you makes you pause and really sees the real value of what we're doing in the space. And even those scholars were not able to buy their own team, right? But it make whatever they earn by playing a game puts food on the table. So those are the
Mhm.
human aspects that sometimes we tend to overlook, but that's really the that underpins actually the this for us, that underpins our vision and mission for the guild ecosystem.
Yeah, I think you said it beautifully. It definitely is, you know, really great to see these success stories. And I'm curious, what success stories can you maybe like tell off the top of your head that can maybe our listeners can know? Because I think it's really difficult, especially for I think our audience being more, in the Western part of the
Sure.
world, to like understand this, I think, on a deeper level. And I just would love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, so actually, if we here in the Philippines, the play to earn, play and earn, they're changing the narrative now. Play and earn, started from the rural areas. So like provinces outside the metro, and maybe for people in the West, $100 $200 additional income is not a lot. But here in the Philippines, where the minimum wage is around 150 $200 per month, effectively you're doubling your salary, and it uplifts their lives. So social move, I can give you a very concrete example. We have one of our scholars actually before. He started 2020, and he's a police officer, and he wanted to really get to know the space, right? And he saw some of his friends 2 years ago, actually, 2020. um, and he started as a scholar, saved enough money, just continuously played, and then as of last year, he already has about 100 scholars, and all
Wow.
what and there was no upfront investment from him, right? Because basically, we finance his first team, so whatever he earned, he just bought his own team with that earnings, and then afterwards, it just snowballed into like 100 scholars, and he was able to buy a car, buy a house, from his earnings. So it's really and he's helping more people as well, so that's already 100 people just from that one person, one success story that we that was formerly our scholar.
That's so true. Making waves, being able to, like you said, help that individual get started who is passionate, who's an entrepreneur, simply go out and help other people. I think that's amazing. What are you most excited for the future of blockchain? And maybe if you can dive a little bit deeper into the future of blockchain gaming.
I'm interested to see, because right now, there are a lot of, as of a proof of concept and as of adoption, Axie Infinity is leading the way, right? But I'm seeing a lot of games right now which are a little bit more complex in terms of the gameplay, and that is because the low hanging fruit for us is the traditional, the gaming industry in general, like those who play Dota, those who play Final Fantasy, etc., right? Mobile Legends, etc. And that is something that we need to onboard into and convert those into to become part of the play and earn space. So I'm interested to see games right now move and make their games a little bit more complex, I know
Mm.
there are struggles in terms of the tech side of it, right? Because
Right.
we're building on top of blockchain. But I'm interested to see that how can we make sure that the stickiness, more than the financial returns, right? Instead of just the financial returns, but how can we make sure that you know people play and earn games because they're fun first, they're entertaining first,
Mm.
because that will ensure the sustainability of the play and earn industry. Because right now there are a lot of questions circling around, right? Especially with the downturn of SLP, and a lot of scholars are now not as motivated as before. So then it puts us into that first principle of any type of game, which is it needs to be entertaining, and at the same time, not just it's entertaining because of the gameplay and the community. Predominantly, I think we've built a community around Axie Infinity. That's why we still keep on playing it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in essence, what we need to do moving forward is to have, and I think Axie also already is addressing these. Which is make it as entertaining as possible, so people play it for fun
Right.
first, and then at the same time, we've been playing games. A lot of people have been playing games for since you can remember, right? So we're not reinventing the wheel, but what we're doing is that we are just changing the value accrual from that everything flows to the game developer, but now we're changing that value accrual goes to the people who are playing the ecosystem. It gets distributed to the people in the ecosystem. So I hope we see more games that are trying to be let's focus on entertainment and much more immersive experience, similar to how we're seeing these online games right now, and that would ensure mass adoption and sustainability of blockchain gaming.
Well, Jen, I honestly don't think that I could have said it any better than that. I think you hit on all the points, and I think you hit on everything that makes me excited as well for blockchain gaming. We're still so early in the game, and there's still so many things to come out. We don't really know what the future will hold, but I do know that if there's leaders like yourself that continue to build, there's going to be a very positive future for everybody that you're really impacting, because you're really helping change lives, and that's really amazing. So I really appreciate you coming on to the Twitter space, and appreciate you talking a lot more about blockchain space, and um, just excited to continue being able to build with you in this space.
All right. Thanks, Juan. Thanks for having us today. And looking forward to more partnership collaboration with GamerSpeak. So looking forward.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And good
Have a good
morning to
day.
you.
Have a good night.
All right.
All
Later.
right. Bye.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Really appreciate it. If you want to connect more with GamerSpeak, you can check us out at gamerspeak.io. You can join our Discord or follow us on Twitter at GamerSpeak Guild. And we are going to be launching an NFT project where you get access to our guild with exclusive investment content, airdrops of within the guild, and early access passes for individuals who are wanting to play a game but simply don't want to put up the upfront investment first. So a lot of exciting things that we have in line for our NFT projects. So if you want to keep in contact, I think Twitter is the best way. Feel free to check us out, join our Discord. Super excited to be able to continue working with you all, building in the space, and there's still so much more to come. Really excited for that. I hope everyone has a great night. For those kind of in the States, for those in the Philippines and that side of the world, good morning. All right. Have a good one.